Belonging to the Mafia is a dangerous endeavor, and most people do anything to avoid such a life. But there are Mafia bosses who embraced the life and even initiated their sons into it. From John Gotti Jr. following his father's footsteps of being a brutal Mafia boss to Philip Genovese operating from the shadows like his father, and to a son who got bullied out of the Mafia business by his father's associates after the death of his father. These are the criminal father-son legacies. Carlo and Thomas Gambino. Upon his arrival in New York, Carlos Gambino quickly aligned himself with the Mangano crime family, one of the 5 families that dominated organized crime in the city. By the 1930s, Gambino had become a captain within the Mangano family. This position allowed him to oversee a crew of soldiers and engage in various criminal enterprises, including bootlegging, gambling, and extortion. His success in these ventures further solidified his reputation as a shrewd and effective leader. Thomas Gambino, the eldest son of the infamous Carlo Gambino, carved out his own niche within the Gambino crime family, blending traditional mob activities with legitimate business operations. Born on August 23, 1929 in New York City, Thomas was groomed from an early age to follow in his father's footsteps. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Thomas was known for his low-key demeanor and preference for operating behind the scenes, a trait he inherited from his father. Thomas's entry into the family crime business was marked by his marriage to Frances Lucchese in 1962, the daughter of Tommy Lucchese, another powerful Mafia boss. In 1993, Thomas Gambino was convicted of 2 counts of racketeering and racketeering conspiracy. Prosecutors argued that he had been overseeing illegal gambling and loan sharking activities in Connecticut since 1985. This conviction resulted in a 5-year prison sentence, which Thomas began serving in 1996. While Carlo and Thomas Gambino had a more quiet, behind-the-scenes power that defined the era, John Gotti and his son represented a flashier, more brazen approach to mob leadership. John and John A. Jr. Gotti. John Gotti's ascent to power within the Gambino crime family is a tale of ambition, cunning, and ruthless determination. Gotti's first significant break came when he joined the Gambino crime family, one of the 5 families that dominated organized crime in New York City. Under the mentorship of Agnello Della Croce, the family's underboss, Gotti honed his skills in racketeering, loan sharking, and other illicit activities. Della Croce saw potential in the young gangster and took him under his wing, teaching him the intricacies of mafia operations and the importance of loyalty and respect. By the late 1970s, Gotti had established himself as a formidable force within the Gambino family. His involvement in the notorious hijacking of cargo at John F. Kennedy International Airport brought him both wealth and notoriety. From a young age, John Gotti Jr. was exposed to the inner workings of the Mafia, witnessing firsthand the power and influence wielded by his father. Jr.'s formal induction into the Gambino crime family occurred on Christmas Eve, 1988. According to federal prosecutors, Jr. was initiated alongside fellow mobster Michael DiLeonardo in a ceremony orchestrated by Sammy Gravano to avoid accusations of nepotism. Jr.'s involvement in the Gambino crime family ultimately led to a series of legal troubles. In 1998, he was indicted on racketeering charges, and by 1999, he was sentenced to 6 years and 5 months in prison. Just as John Gotti Jr. followed in his father's footsteps within the Gambino crime family, another father-son duo, Paul and Philip Castellano, played their own pivotal roles in shaping the family's legacy. Paul and Philip Castellano. As the 1940s unfolded, Paul Castellano officially joined the Mangano family, eventually rising to the rank of caporagim under the leadership of Albert Anastasia. This position marked a significant step in his criminal career, granting him authority over a crew of soldiers and the ability to influence the family's operations. Despite his focus on business operations, Castellano was not above using violence to maintain control and eliminate threats. In 1975, he allegedly ordered the murder of Vito Borelli, his daughter's boyfriend, for making an unflattering comparison between Castellano and Frank Perdue, the owner of Perdue Farms. While Paul Castellano's name often dominates the narrative of the Gambino crime family, his son Philip Castellano played a significant role in the family's operations, particularly in the realm of business dealings. As the president of Scaramix Concrete Corporation, Philip Castellano was instrumental in expanding the family's influence in the construction industry, a sector that proved to be both lucrative and strategically important for the Gambino empire. Scaramix Concrete Corporation, under Philip's leadership, became a cornerstone of the Gambino family's business empire. The company held a near monopoly on the concrete supply in Staten Island, a position that was bolstered by the family's connections and influence. Just as Paul groomed Philip to expand the Gambino family's business empire through Scaramix Concrete, Joseph Bonanno prepared his son Bill for leadership within the Bonanno crime family, though their paths to power faced very different challenges. Joseph and Salvatore Bill Bonanno. At the tender age of 3, Joseph's family immigrated to New York City, settling in the bustling neighborhood of Williamsburg, Brooklyn. This move marked the beginning of his exposure to the vibrant yet dangerous world of the Mafia. For about 10 years, Joseph lived in the United States, absorbing the culture and environment that would later influence his leadership style. Joseph's involvement in bootlegging during the Prohibition era marked his official entry into the criminal underworld. He operated a distillery with Gaspar di Gregorio and Giovanni Romano, though tragedy struck when an explosion claimed Romano's life. Salvatore Vincent Bonanno, known to the world as Bill Bonanno, was born on November 5, 1932, in the vibrant borough of Brooklyn, New York City. As the first child of Joseph Bonanno and Faye Labruzzo, Bill was born into a life steeped in the traditions and complexities of the Mafia. From an early age, he was groomed to follow in his father's footsteps, destined to play a significant role in the Bonanno crime family. Shortly after leaving university, he was inducted as a made man, a significant milestone in the Mafia hierarchy. His father, recognizing his potential, appointed him as consigliere, a position of great responsibility and influence within the family. However, Bill's intellectual approach and lack of experience led to tensions within the family. Many members felt he was too cerebral to lead effectively, a sentiment that only intensified when he advised his father against involving the family in the illegal narcotics trade. While Bill Bonanno struggled to balance intellect with tradition in his father's empire, Carmine Galante embraced a more ruthless approach, using violence and strategy to secure his place within the Bonanno crime family. Carmine and James Galante. Carmine Galante's ascent within the ranks of the Bonanno crime family was marked by strategic cunning and a relentless pursuit of power. Following his release from prison in 1939, Galante wasted no time in re-establishing his connections within the Mafia. By the 1950s, Galante had become a trusted lieutenant of Joseph Bonanno, the head of the Bonanno crime family. On July 12, 1979, Carmine Galante met his fate in a manner befitting his notorious reputation. While dining on the open patio of Joe and Mary's Italian-American restaurant in Bushwick, Brooklyn, Galante was ambushed by 3 ski-masked gunmen. The gunmen stormed the restaurant, opening fire with shotguns and handguns. Galante was killed instantly. The image of Galante's lifeless body, a cigar still clenched between his teeth, became an enduring symbol of his violent and tumultuous life. James Galante, the son of the infamous Carmine Galante, carved his own path in the world of business, but his journey was fraught with controversy and legal entanglements. James grew up in the shadow of his father's notorious reputation. Despite this, he pursued a career in the waste disposal industry, eventually becoming a prominent figure in the field. In June 2008, facing mounting evidence and legal pressure, James Galante agreed to a change of plea hearing. As part of his plea agreement, James forfeited his stake in 25 trash hauling and recycling companies valued at $100 million to the federal government. He also agreed to never work in the waste disposal industry again. Just as James Galante sought success in the waste disposal industry under the shadow of his father Carmine's violent legacy, William Bufalino leveraged his legal career while navigating the powerful influence of his uncle Russell Bufalino's criminal empire. Russell and William Bufalino. A pivotal moment in Russell Bufalino's criminal career came in 1957 with the infamous Appalachian Meeting. This gathering of powerful mafiosi from the United States and Italy was intended to legitimize Vito Genovese's control over the Luciano crime family. Russell, along with Joseph Barbara, was tasked with overseeing the arrangements for this clandestine meeting at Barbara's estate in Appalachian, New York. The meeting, however, was disrupted by law enforcement, leading to the arrest of several high-profile mobsters, including Russell Bufalino. Although the convictions were later overturned, the Appalachian Meeting exposed the vast network of organized crime in America and solidified Russell's reputation as a formidable crime boss. The son of Italian immigrants Salvatore and Louise Bufalino, William was one of 9 children in a family that knew the struggles of immigrant life. William's career as a lawyer was not without controversy. His tenure as a Teamster official, serving as president of Local 985 in the Detroit area, drew scrutiny from a Senate investigation. The investigation portrayed Local 985 as a collection agency for gangster-dominated operators, highlighting the pervasive influence of organized crime within the Union. William's familial ties to Russell Bufalino, the powerful Pennsylvania Mafia boss, only fueled suspicions of his Mafia connections. Despite the controversies and challenges, William Bufalino's career as a lawyer was marked by his unwavering dedication to his clients and his ability to navigate the treacherous waters of the legal system. He retired in 1982, leaving behind a legacy intertwined with some of the the most significant events and figures in American labor and crime history. William Bufalino used his legal expertise to protect the interests of his Uncle Russell's criminal empire. So also did Philip Genovese, operated discreetly within his father Vito's powerful syndicate, ensuring the family's influence endured from the shadows. Vito and Philip Genovese. Vito's rise in the Mafia was significantly influenced by his association with Giuseppe "Joe the Boss" Masseria, a powerful mobster who controlled much of New York's criminal activities. Under Masseria's tutelage, Vito honed his skills in the art of organized crime, learning the intricacies of the Mafia's operations. His loyalty and cunning earned him a place within Masseria's inner circle, and he quickly became a trusted lieutenant. Philip Genovese, the son of the infamous Vito Genovese, was born into a world of crime and intrigue. As the offspring of one of the most powerful Mafia bosses in America, Philip's life was inevitably intertwined with the shadowy operations of the Genovese crime family. Despite his father's notorious reputation, Philip managed to maintain a relatively low profile, a testament to his ability to navigate the dangerous waters of organized crime without drawing undue attention. Philip's involvement in his father's activities was often subtle, reflecting his preference for operating behind the scenes. While Vito was known for his aggressive tactics and high-profile maneuvers, Philip's role within the crime family was more understated. He was linked to various mob operations, but his exact contributions remained largely obscured by the veil of secrecy that surrounded the Mafia's inner workings. Despite his involvement in organized crime, Philip Genovese's life remains shrouded in mystery. Just as Philip Genovese operated in the shadows of his father's empire, Vincent the Chin Gigante mastered deception in plain sight, using both cunning and theatrics to secure his own place in Mafia history away from his father's influence. Vincent the Chin and Andrew Gigante. In the early 1950s, Vincent's criminal career took a dramatic turn when Vito Genovese decided to eliminate Frank Costello, the boss of the Luciano crime family. Genovese ordered Vincent to carry out the assassination, and on May 2, 1957, Vincent shot and wounded Costello outside his apartment building. Although the wound was superficial, it was enough to persuade Costello to relinquish power to Genovese and retire. As Vincent's power and influence expanded, so did his reputation for eccentricity. In the 1960s, he began wandering the streets of his neighborhood in a bathrobe, pajamas, and slippers, mumbling to himself. This bizarre behavior was not merely an eccentric quirk, but a calculated performance known as the bathrobe defense. By feigning mental incompetence, Vincent sought to avoid prosecution for his criminal activities, a strategy that would confound law enforcement for years. Andrew Gigante, the son of the infamous Vincent the Chin Gigante, found himself deeply entrenched in the operations of the Genovese crime family, following in the footsteps of his notorious father. Born into a world where organized crime was a family affair, Andrew's involvement in the Genovese family was almost inevitable. As Vincent's trusted confidant and messenger, Andrew played a crucial role in maintaining the family's criminal enterprises, even as his father faced legal challenges. Andrew's role within the Genovese family became particularly significant during the 1990s, a tumultuous period marked by Vincent's legal battles and eventual imprisonment. Between 1997 and 2002, Andrew served as the messenger for his father, acting as the conduit through which Vincent relayed orders to the family from behind bars. Like Andrew Gigante, who worked behind the scenes to uphold his father's legacy, Michael Bruno found himself navigating the treacherous aftermath of his father's reign, struggling to maintain control in a world where power is never guaranteed. Angelo and Michael Bruno. By the 1940s, Angelo had established himself as a significant player in the Philadelphia crime scene. His connections extended beyond the city, reaching into the influential circles of the New York Mafia families. The 1950s marked a turning point in Angelo Bruno's career. With the support of his New York allies, he was appointed as the boss of the Philadelphia crime family in 1959.